Welcome. Before we begin, I want you to give yourself permission to slow down. For the next few minutes, there is nowhere you need to be. Nothing you need to fix. Nothing you need to prove. The world can wait. The notifications can wait. The responsibilities can wait. This moment belongs to you. Perhaps you found this video after a long day. Perhaps your mind feels crowded. Perhaps you've been carrying worries that no one else can see. Or perhaps you're simply searching for a little peace, whatever brought you here. I'm glad you're here. Tonight, we're going to explore something simple yet deeply powerful. Something that many of us forget in the noise of everyday life. The art of spending time with yourself, not as an obligation, not as a self-improvement project, but as a way of reconnecting with the person who has been walking beside you your entire life, you. So find a comfortable place, take a slow breath, and allow yourself to settle into this moment as the world becomes quieter around us. Let's begin. It is early, not the kind of early that feels rushed, not the kind of morning filled with alarms, deadlines, and notifications. A different kind of early. The sky is soft and pale. The air is cool. The world seems to be taking a slow breath before the day begins. Somewhere in the distance, a bird sings. A gentle breeze moves through the trees. The streets are quiet, and for a moment, everything feels still. Now imagine sitting by a window, a warm cup of tea in your hands. No television, no scrolling, no conversations, no noise, just you and silence. How does that feel? For some people, it feels peaceful. For others, it feels uncomfortable, almost strange, because many of us have become so used to constant stimulation that silence feels unfamiliar. The moment things become quiet, we reach for something. Our phones, a video, a conversation, music, anything to fill the empty space. But have you ever wondered why? Why is it so difficult to simply sit with ourselves? Maybe it is because when the noise disappears, we finally hear our own thoughts, the thoughts we have been avoiding, the questions we have been postponing, the emotions we have been carrying. And yet, those thoughts are not enemies. Those emotions are not problems. They are parts of you, parts that have been waiting patiently to be heard. Think about it. You have spent your entire life with one person who has been there through every success, every embarrassment, every achievement, every heartbreak, every celebration, every disappointment. That person is you, and yet many people know more about their favorite celebrities than they know about themselves. They know what other people think, what other people want, what other people expect, but they do not know what their own heart is trying to tell them. That is why spending time with yourself is so powerful. It is not about escaping the world. It is about returning home, returning to the person you have neglected for far too long. Can you remember the last time you sat alone without trying to distract yourself? Not because you had no choice, but because you chose to. Can you remember the last time you listened to your own thoughts with curiosity instead of judgment? Many of us spend years running toward goals, running toward success, running toward approval, running toward the next thing, always moving, always chasing, always doing, but somewhere along the way, we forget how to simply be. We forget that our worth is not measured by productivity. We forget that we do not need to earn every moment of rest. We forget that being alone is not the same as being lonely. Loneliness is feeling disconnected from yourself and others. Solitude is feeling connected to yourself. And there is a beautiful difference between the two. When you learn to enjoy your own company, something changes. You stop fearing silence. You stop needing constant validation. You stop looking outside yourself for every answer. Instead, you begin building a relationship with the one person who will be with you for your entire life, you. And that relationship matters more than most people realize, because the quality of your life often depends on the quality of your relationship with yourself. If you are constantly criticizing yourself, life feels heavy. If you are constantly doubting yourself, Life feels uncertain. If you are constantly fighting yourself, life feels exhausting. But if you learn to understand yourself, to support yourself, to trust yourself, life begins to feel different. Not easier, but steadier. And perhaps that is what we are all searching for. Not perfection, not endless happiness, just a quiet sense of peace, a place inside ourselves where we can rest, a place inside ourselves that feels like home. Imagine a friend, a very close friend, someone you deeply care about. Now imagine ignoring that friend for years, never listening to them, never asking how they feel, never giving them your attention. What would happen? The relationship would weaken, distance would grow, connection would fade. Now consider something important. Many of us do exactly that with ourselves. We ignore our feelings, we ignore our needs, we ignore our exhaustion, we ignore our dreams, and then we wonder why we feel disconnected, why we feel lost, why we feel empty. The truth is simple. You cannot build a strong relationship with someone you never spend time with, and that includes yourself. Spending time alone creates space, space to think, space to reflect, space to understand, and in that space, important things begin to reveal themselves. Perhaps you discover that you are carrying stress you never acknowledged. Perhaps you realize that you have been trying to please everyone except yourself. Perhaps you notice that a dream you abandoned years ago is still quietly waiting inside you. These discoveries do not happen when life is constantly noisy. They happen in stillness. Stillness is where clarity lives. Think about a muddy glass of water. If you keep shaking it, the water remains cloudy. But if you set it down and allow it to rest, the dirt settles. The water becomes clear. The mind works in a similar way. When we are constantly busy, constantly distracted, constantly reacting, everything feels cloudy. But when we slow down, things settle and clarity appears. This is why some of the world's greatest ideas arrive during quiet moments, during walks, during reflection, during solitude. Not because silence creates intelligence, but because silence creates space, and space allows wisdom to emerge. Have you ever noticed how often you seek answers from other people? You ask for advice, you ask for opinions, you ask for reassurance, and there is nothing wrong with that. But sometimes the answer you need is already inside you, buried beneath noise, buried beneath fear, buried beneath doubt. Spending time with yourself helps uncover it. It allows you to hear your own voice again, not the voice of social media, not the voice of expectations, not the voice of comparison. Your voice, the one that has been there all along, the one that knows what truly matters to you, the one that understands your deepest values, the one that quietly guides you when you choose to listen. And perhaps that is why solitude feels so powerful, because it reconnects you with yourself, not the version of you that performs for others, not the version of you that seeks approval, but the real you, the authentic you, the person beneath all the roles, the person beneath all the labels, the person beneath all the expectations. And meeting that person can change everything. There is a story about a woman who always surrounded herself with noise. The television was always on, music was always playing, her schedule was always full. If she had free time, she immediately found a way to fill it. At first, she believed she was simply being productive. But one day, something unexpected happened. A storm caused a power outage. The lights went out. The television stopped. The internet disappeared. The house became silent. At first, she felt restless, then uncomfortable, then anxious. She walked around the house. She checked her phone repeatedly. She searched for distractions. But eventually, there was nothing left to do. So she sat by a window, and for the first time in years, she simply sat. Minutes passed, then more minutes, and slowly something began to shift. She noticed the rain. She noticed her breathing. She noticed her thoughts, not the rushed thoughts of a busy day, the deeper thoughts, the honest thoughts, the thoughts she had been avoiding. She realized she was tired, not physically, emotionally. She realized she had been carrying pressure she never acknowledged. She realized she had been chasing approval from people who were not living her life. She realized she had forgotten what brought her joy. And as the silence continued, something surprising happened. She did not feel lonely. She felt connected. Connected to herself, connected to her own experience, connected to her own humanity. Can you imagine that feeling? The feeling of finally slowing down enough to hear your own heart. The feeling of no longer running from yourself. The feeling of being comfortable in your own company. This is one of the greatest gifts a person can receive, because when you become comfortable with yourself, you stop depending on constant external validation. You stop needing everyone to agree with you. You stop fearing every moment of solitude. You begin to trust yourself, and trust is powerful. Trust allows you to make decisions with confidence. Trust allows you to recover from mistakes. Trust allows you to face uncertainty with courage, because you know something important. You know that no matter what happens, you will be there for yourself. Life becomes less about proving your worth and more about living your truth. You stop asking, "Am I enough?" and start asking, "What feels meaningful to me?" You stop asking, "What will people think?" and start asking, "What do I think?" You stop asking, "How can I be perfect?" and start asking, "How can I be authentic?" These questions create a different kind of life, a quieter life, a deeper life, a more peaceful life. And it all begins with spending time alone, not because you dislike people, not because you want to escape the world, but because your relationship with yourself deserves attention too. Many people believe strength comes from constant action, from working harder, from doing more, from never stopping. But some of the greatest strength in life comes from stillness, from self-awareness, from understanding yourself deeply. When you spend time alone, you begin noticing patterns. Patterns in your thoughts, patterns in your emotions, patterns in your behavior. You begin understanding what drains you, what energizes you, what inspires you, what hurts you. This awareness becomes a source of power, because you cannot change what you do not understand, and you cannot understand what you never take time to observe. The person who understands themselves has an advantage, not because they know everything, but because they know themselves. And that knowledge creates resilience, it creates confidence, it creates peace. A tree becomes strong because its roots grow deep. The roots are invisible. No one applauds them. No one celebrates them. Yet they are the reason the tree survives storms. Spending time with yourself is like growing roots. The work happens quietly. The benefits appear later, but they appear. One day you face criticism, and it affects you less. One day you experience failure, and you recover faster. One day life becomes difficult, and you remain steady, not because you are fearless, but because you know yourself, you trust yourself, you understand yourself, and that understanding becomes your foundation. As we come to the end of this journey, I want you to imagine something. Imagine meeting yourself, not the version others see, not the version shaped by expectations, the real you. Imagine sitting across from that person, looking into their eyes, and simply listening. What would they tell you? Would they tell you they are tired? Would they tell you they need rest? Would they tell you they need forgiveness? Would they tell you they are proud of how far they have come? Perhaps they would tell you something you have needed to hear for a very long time. Perhaps they would say, "You do not have to carry everything alone. You do not have to be perfect. You do not have to earn your worth. You are already enough." The truth is, the relationship you build with yourself shapes every other relationship in your life. It influences how you think, how you feel, how you love, how you grow, and that relationship deserves care. So the next time life becomes noisy, the next time the world demands your attention, the next time you feel overwhelmed, take a moment, find a quiet place, put the phone down, breathe, listen, spend a little time with yourself, because hidden beneath the noise, hidden beneath the responsibilities, hidden beneath the expectations, there is a person waiting, a person who has been with you through every chapter of your story, a person who deserves kindness, patience, understanding, and love. That person is you. And perhaps the greatest journey you will ever take is not traveling across the world. It is traveling inward. It is learning who you are. It is becoming your own friend. It is discovering that the peace you have been searching for may have been waiting inside you all along, and when you finally find it, you realize something beautiful. You were never truly alone. You are simply waiting to come home to yourself. We've reached the end of this journey together, but perhaps this isn't really an ending. Perhaps it's an invitation to spend a little more time with yourself, to listen a little more carefully to your thoughts, to speak a little more kindly to your heart, to remember that you are worthy of the same compassion you give to others. Life will continue to move quickly. There will still be responsibilities, challenges, unexpected storms, but somewhere within you, there is a quiet place. A place that no deadline can reach, a place that no criticism can destroy, a place that has always belonged to you. Whenever life feels overwhelming, return there. Whenever you feel lost, return there. Whenever you forget who you are, return there. Because the relationship you build with yourself is one of the most important relationships you will ever have. And every moment you spend understanding yourself, trusting yourself, and caring for yourself is never wasted. Before you leave, I want you to remember one thing. You do not have to have everything figured out. You do not have to be perfect. You do not have to become someone else to be worthy of peace. You are already enough, exactly where you are, exactly as you are. Thank you for spending these moments with me. If this message brought you comfort, I hope you'll carry that feeling with you into the rest of your day or into the quiet hours of your night. Until next time, be gentle with yourself, be patient with yourself, and remember, sometimes the most beautiful journey is not the one that takes you somewhere new, it's the one that brings you back home to yourself. Good day, and take care.